What's going on, everyone? Welcome on into a live edition of the Cleveland Browns Report. Matthew Peterson here. 2 days before the 2025 NFL Draft, we have some good rumors to talk about whether or not the Browns are going to stay put at number 2 or trade back, as Peter Schrager from ESPN suggests. Then I want to look at my final 7-round mock draft for the Browns with some trades, because who doesn't like a good trade or two? So all that coming up during our live show today. I know that it's not our usual type of live, no mailbag, but I just want to get to all the meat and potatoes, the juicy stuff, right? The fat on the steak, and really sink our teeth into it. So shout out your city, though. I will give the audience a few minutes to click on the live notification and file on in, since we're not going live at our usual time, but I was too antsy. I did not want to wait, and I thought you guys might enjoy getting to all the good stuff as quickly as possible. So let me know where you're tuning in from. Roy, continuing to watch from Berlin. Dylan, happy belated birthday. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Dylan. Happy birthday to you. Jeffrey, watching from Ohio. We've got Dave in Georgia. Daniel's in Ohio. Corpus Christi, Texas in the house. Tim, steak and potatoes sounds good about now. Tim, I agree. If you knew what I had for lunch today, you definitely know how good steak and potatoes would sound to me at the moment right now. Josh is in Michigan. We've got Troy, Ohio in the house. Kimberly's in Lincoln, Nebraska. David in West Virginia. So, over 60 people tuned in right from the jump. Do me a big favor. Click the like button. We only have 7 likes so far. Would love to get up to 15 likes. Now, I don't want to waste much more of your time. I do want to talk all about some of the draft rumors out there. I will remind you all, we are going to go live for rounds 1, 2, and 3, and hopefully beyond as well if the first 3 go well, of the NFL Draft. Plus, 5 minutes before I walked into the studio, my boss James gave me these Browns Report hats and said, hey, we're going to get a couple of these for the draft. Would love to have you give them away to all of your favorite viewers and the most loyal viewers and things like that. So if you want to get a Browns Report hat, make sure you come hang out with us during our live coverage of the draft. And that way you can walk around repping your favorite place to get Browns content. At least it's my mom's favorite place. So, cool guy wants one. Christopher is in the house as well. Okay. The birthday singing apparently did not go well over with everyone. Joshua Miller with a $2 super chat. Let's get the super chat on screen, and then we'll jump into our first segment today, which is all about some trade rumors within the NFL Draft. We're not doing a mailbag today, so if you have something you want to ask and you want it to be on screen, super chat, and we'll throw it on for everyone watching to see. Ghost is not happy. No, see, if you can pull off white, white's a very, sleek kind of look. White goes well with everything as well. All right, here we go. Joshua, Travis Hunter or Ashton Genty and a second first-round pick in 2026. Josh, I love your questions. Let's say it's like the Jags want Travis Hunter, right? So you can move back 5 and get Ashton Genty and get Jacksonville's first-round pick next year. I think I'd probably have to go with the Ashton Genty and future first. You do have to calculate who you're making that trade with. If you're making that trade with a team you expect to be bad next year, having an early draft pick that is through no fault of your own is the greatest blessing from above. And I think that Travis Hunter, while he is a very fun unicorn-type prospect, is not going to tilt the scales enough to outweigh Genty and a first-round pick in 2026. I like the question, Josh. I'll open up for everyone watching to answer right now. My own YouTube channel, evidently. Yeah, that is from right now. All right. That is right now. Ready for Browns Twitter this weekend. Oh, Browns Twitter every weekend's a lot of fun. But yeah, especially this upcoming weekend. No way you trade away the number 2 pick for anything past number 5. Adrenaline, here's the thing with this draft class. The guys that are going to go in the top 5 have more flaws and flags than usually any top 5 kind of draft class. Take Abdul Carter, for example. He's like the number 1, the number 2, just pure prospect in this class. He's played 1 year at defensive end. He's got a foot fracture, and he's a little bit on the smaller end for his position. He's still very good. But those are usually things that are pointed out about someone that goes in like the teens of round 1. Take Travis Hunter. By some accounts, the number 1 prospect in this class. No one really knows how well he can play offense and defense. And if he only plays one side of the ball, is he really worth a top 1, 2, or 3 draft pick? Those are usually concerns that you don't have about someone you take second overall, whether or not they can play a certain position that you're drafting them to play. You know what I mean? So when you say you don't want to trade outside the top 5, this is a bad year. If you're ranking draft classes to pick top 5 in, this is not one I want to be in. Comparatively to like last year, where you had Kaleb Williams and Drake May and Jaden Daniels and Marvin Harrison, right? This is not a draft class. Like Will Anderson, he was a much more just complete prospect coming out of Alabama than Abdul Carter. And he went 3rd overall, and I would take Will Anderson over Abdul Carter from a prospect standpoint entering the draft 10 times out of 10. Josh, should 4 out of first 5 picks be on an offense side? If you count Travis Hunter as a receiver in this, you've got Cam Ward, Travis Hunter. I believe Abdul Carter's a New York Giant. And then at number 4, you've got the Patriots, I think, going offensive line. And then the Jags. That's the tipping point, right? That's where you go from either 3 to 4 or keep it at 3. I think Jacksonville will go with. There's been so much smoke lately that they could go with like Tet McMillan or Ashton Genty. I could see them going Genty. I could see them passing on Mason Graham, who, by the way, like as a defensive tackle prospect, just kind of go through your head here. Does he stand out as one of the best defensive tackle prospects in the last like 5 or 6 drafts? I don't think so. I don't think he's bad by any means, but I don't think when you look at his profile, you think, okay, without knowing anyone else in the draft, that's usually a guy that goes in the top 5. So I'll go with, yeah, Josh, let's do it. Let's do Genty to Jacksonville at 5. All right, let's get into our first segment. 81 people tuned in, 21 likes. We need 4 more likes. Once we get to 25 likes, we'll talk all about the possibility of Cleveland trading the 2nd overall pick, as ESPN's Peter Schrager points out as a thing to keep an eye on, something to watch for as we inch closer to the NFL draft. And I'll give you my thoughts. Listen, I get the idea of don't trade back, don't overthink it, don't overcomplicate it, just stay put and take Travis at number 2. I don't think that's a bad idea. But I do think that it is worth listening to offers. And that's what I'm going to expand on in this next part of our live show. 29 likes. Here we go. Let's get into it. Oh, it starts here. Shit, I was like, well, I don't know what the fuck we're waiting for. All right, here we go. Take 2. I thought I hit spacebar. All right. Well, you guys can see how the sausage is made. Here we go. Yeah. All right. Here we go. We're going to talk all about some possible rumors in the NFL draft. Let me start over. That was a bad start. You guys, now take 3 now. This is just bad. Here we go. Talk about some bad TV. We've got some NFL draft and trade rumors to look at involving the Cleveland Browns from ESPN's Peter Schrager. But quick plug here for our live coverage of the 2025 NFL Draft. We will be going live on the channel for days 1 and 2. We've got some hats to give away. We've got some other good fun giveaway items as well. So come hang out with us and get free pick-by-pick analysis with your favorite Browns YouTube channel. There are some rumors out there that the Browns are interested to some level, to some degree, of trading the number 2 overall pick. Now, whenever we get to draft week, in the days leading up to it, all of a sudden it goes from 0 to 100 on all the rumors, all the trades, all the picks. It's very dormant for the first few weeks of April, and then it spikes. And I don't think that is just out of the blue. I think this is all ministered and controlled and chipettoed by teams with selective leaks to media to give other teams the impression of one thing to maybe get something better in return. So Peter Schrager, who recently joined ESPN, by the way, says there have been calls made to both the Browns at number 2 and the Giants at number 3 with the intention to move up in the NFL draft. So let's break it down here. Here's what Schrager said. I think the two spot gets very interesting if the Browns are listening to a Godfather deal for them to trade back and someone to trade up into the top 3. I'm going to jump in right now and say you're not getting a Godfather deal. The Browns should be looking for a Godfather deal. They should be looking to get all options in front of them, right? Go, all right, we can do this, we can do that, we can do that. Let's have a discussion, and let's pick what the best option is. And the best option might be we're going to stay put at number 2. But you should get as many options as possible, right? Take a page out of HGTV. Like, they go and look at 3 different houses. And then they always pick the house that we all knew they were going to pick from the start. But they at least go through the motions of checking out some other houses. So I have no problem with the Browns having interest or looking or whatever it might be. Fill in the Mad Lib adjective or verb for the Browns' number 2 pick. That's what Andrew Berry's job is to get the best possibilities in front of him and then make the right decision. So no panic over here. No freak out. What, the Browns trade number 2 pick? How could they be doing this? No, they're just doing their jobs. If a team wants to give up a first-round pick this year and multiple first-round picks and things like that, then yeah, you should definitely consider it. And it's not just Schrager, by the way. Florio also said at least one experienced and accomplished evaluator of talent thinks there's a chance someone trades all the way up to number 2 to get Shedeur Sanders. I think this is the Browns just fishing on the dock, just casting a line, and they want to see if anyone wants to nibble. Does anyone want to give us a historic offer for the number 2 pick in the draft that we just couldn't turn down? They may not get that, and that's probably what's going to happen here. I don't think the Browns are going to trade the number 2 pick. Let me make that clear right now. I, Matthew John Peterson, do not believe the Browns are going to trade the number 2 pick. But if the Browns want to put some feelers out there and see if they can get something like, I mean, this isn't going to be apples to apples because this was for pick number 1, but, I mean, ask yourself, would you rather have Travis Hunter at number 2 or, say, the number 9 pick? A future first and second and another first and a player. I mean, it won't be to this level, but if it's just 75% of it, yeah, if you could go from 1 to 9 and get a team's first-round pick next year, a second, and a player, that's probably going to outweigh one player at number 2. All right, but that was for the number 1 pick. That's not really realistic here. What about number 3 pick, right? This is what the Niners gave up to get Trey Lance. You know, they swapped first. I never like saying they got 3 firsts out of it. They just swapped first. They got 2 future firsts, right? 2022 and 2023. If a team wanted to give the Browns their 2026 and 2027 first-round pick for number 2 this year, you saying no to that? I'm not. Or this is another first-round pick. This is a much bigger jump. This one's probably not the best example. How about this one? Not too long ago now, the Browns were moving out of pick number 2, went back to 8, and got a 3rd and a 4th along with a future 1st and 2nd. So would you rather pick at 8 and get, I don't know, Jalen Walker or maybe even Ashton Genty? If Ashton Genty's there at 8, would you want to go Genty at 8 with future 1st and 2nd and 3rd and 4th, or stay put at number 2 and get Hunter? I'd rather get all that than just one player at number 2. And that's a player at number 2 that is not, I believe, a slam dunk no-doubter, because there are still fair concerns about whether or not he can truly play both ways at the next level. But as I said earlier, this is, I wouldn't say fiction. I'm sure there are phone calls made. I mean, that's what GMs do. They want to just know, what would it cost? Oh, that's a lot more than we were looking for. No, thank you. But I don't expect the Browns to trade the number 2 pick. So I'm sure these conversations happen on a very preliminary level, and they probably don't graduate beyond that, but you still pick up the phone. Before we get on to the rest of today's show, quick shout out to our friends over at Game Time. Game Time makes getting tickets even faster and easier. Prices on the Game Time app actually go down the closer it gets to the first pitch. With killer last-minute deals, all-in prices, views from your seat, and their lowest price guarantee, Game Time takes the guesswork out of buying MLB tickets. So if you want to go to a Guardians game, or better yet, you want to go to a Cavs playoff game, make sure you check out Game Time. Last-minute deals over there help you save up to 60% off buying last minute for sports, concerts, comedy, theater, and more. So don't miss out on all the fun in your area. With Game Time, you can save more. Take the guesswork out of buying tickets with Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code CHATSPORTS for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account and redeem code CHATSPORTS for $20 off. Download the Game Time app today. Last minute tickets, lowest price guaranteed. While we're talking about pick number 2, I know there are fans that really don't come out of the woods until draft week when it comes to consuming everything they need to know for the draft. So let's talk about Travis Hunter for a moment, because I expect Cleveland to stay put at number 2, and I expect Travis Hunter to be the pick at number 2. So let's just talk about it, because I was listening to Daniel Jeremiah on Part of My Take, and I thought DJ had an excellent way of categorizing what Hunter's going to be at in the NFL. He's going to major in offense and minor in defense. I'm just mad at myself for not thinking of that earlier, because that's the best way to summarize, I believe, what the Browns' plan is for Travis Hunter. Put him out at wide receiver and then find 5 to 15, I know it's kind of a wide range, so let's just call it 10 snaps a game early on, to use him on defense, right? On a 2-minute drill, 3rd and 13, they line up with 4 wide receivers. That's a great opportunity to let Hunter get on the field, and the other team goes, crap. They already had a lot of good DBs with like Denzel Ward and Grant Delpit. All of a sudden, maybe their best DB comes on the field and Travis Hunter. So I can get behind that approach. I think it'd be easier to have him go full-time on defense, which I believe he's better at, and then sprinkle him in on 15 offensive plays, because a tired Travis on offense is manageable. A tired Travis on defense gives up a touchdown. But then again, I really can't doubt him when it comes to the conditioning element. He's done it for his entire football career. It's not like a new thing he started doing at Colorado for fun. So who am I to doubt him to have the conditioning to go both ways? But I like the Travis Hunter pick, because at this point I've kind of like mentally accepted it's happening. And my reservations leading up to all this was, if he's not going to play both ways and he's just a receiver or just a corner, is he that good of a receiver or that good of a corner to go at number 2? With the Browns planning to utilize him on offense and defense, I'm going to blindly trust them. This is a first. This is a unicorn. It's never been done to this level before. You've had like instances or examples of it. You've had guys change from offense to defense. You had Dion, but like nothing to this level, right? No one is in that same category in terms of just pure snaps on offense and defense from Hunter last year at Colorado. So if the Browns have a plan in place, I know they don't, scream like an organization to trust. I've had so many friends talk to me about the draft and go, well, if there's a team that's going to screw up Travis Hunter, it's the Browns. I'm like, all right, get your jokes off. I really can't rebuttal that. Although if they were to screw something up, it'd be a quarterback, to be fair. But this is, a new front office, and it's not the same old Brownies. So I'm going to say a Travis Hunter pick is like an A-. Just excited to see, how high of a level he can play offense and defense. Some other news I just want to share before we sign off, and some uplifting news here. Jeremiah Owusu-Koramoah was at the Browns' voluntary practices and workouts and things like that today. Now, I don't know what he was doing in terms of actual workout or practice, if at all. There's probably a better chance he was there just to meet with the trainers. But it still got a lot of attention on Twitter and online of, oh, JOK is back. Does this mean he's healthy? That seems like a bit of a reach. I think the step one here is just, let's get him in the facility. Let's continue to have him rehab, and we'll go from there and kind of take it week by week. But it's still nice to see in the middle of April, JOK walking in and just looking like, a healthy human being. Because when you injure your neck, understandably so, there's a lot of concerns about not just your football health, but your general health. So it's good to see JOK back. I'm not going to jump to conclusions of JOK going into the facility means, oh, he's 100% healthy. All right, let's pick a card to wrap up today's show. Reed, which card do you want to go with?
Let's see. Does my mic work? It
yeah,
does.
All of a sudden,
Let's go.
I started to echo, I feel like.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, that's because I turned me up.
Yeah.
Now you can hear yourself.
I see.
Let's go King of Clubs.
All right. I'm going to go with Jack of Clubs. 6 of Clubs. 6 of Clubs. Damn it. All right. I will say, whenever I play like 3-card poker or anything like that at a casino, flush sounds so easy to get like 3 in a row. It's like 1 in 4 chance. But I feel like I get like a participation trophy just for getting the suit right when I pick the card. That's going to do it for us on today's episode. Really appreciate everyone for tuning in. Make sure you are subscribed to the channel. That way you don't miss a single thing when it comes to the Brownies leading up to the granddaddy of them all, the 2025 NFL Draft. Ken G with a $10 super chat. What's going on, Ken? What is the most craziest prediction the Browns can take at number 2 and number 33? All right, Ken. Craziest prediction, like, I'd have to go with Shedeur Sanders at this point for number 2. I'd be genuinely shocked. Like, jaw on the floor. 33, I would say if they go Shedeur at number 2, I'd go with, I'm trying to think of like a fun name that everyone knows. I'd go with like a defensive end. Like a James Pierce from Tennessee or Boston College's Donovan Ezeuruko. Like just someone that we haven't, like a position we haven't discussed, but the Browns go, hey, that's a player who had 16.5 sacks last year. Let's go get the best player available. So that's my best answer for you for a crazy prediction, but by no means am I standing by those predictions.
I was going to say Shedeur. Definitely Shedeur at 2.
Yeah.
That would be crazy. If I want to say somebody else, though, like, because you said Shedeur, I'll say, like, Will Campbell. If they just, like, go crazy. Or Ashton Genty. They all of a sudden are like, yeah, we're just going to go with the running back, right? Number 2.
Yeah, Genty be a good one, too.
Genty being number 2. And then at 33,
I
think,
agree. Tyler Shuck at 33 would be a shocker.
I was just about to say that.
Now, if they go with, in my crazy prediction, Shedeur at 2, then they're not going quarterback at 33. I don't think Tyler Shuck goes in the first 2 rounds. So I think this is just pre-draft quarterback smoke. Not even just smoke, but just pre-draft quarterback tax and hype. But when, the clock's on, I don't think any team at 34 is going to go, yeah, let's go with the 25-year-old who started just 1 season, and in that season had some highs but had some lows. Brandon Weeden, 28. So, all right, next up on the show, we have another one from Josh. Super chat from Joshua Miller. My dream scenario for first 4 picks: Travis Hunter, Jalen Milroe, Kaleb Johnson, and Elijah Arroyo. Also, if we knew Genty would have Chubb-like production for 6 to 8 seasons, is he worth taking at number 2? I'd say yes. The only reason why people aren't going to look at Nick Chubb more fondly when his career is over is because he just didn't have a ton of playoff success. And that's through no fault of his own. That's a reflection of the team that took him. The same way now, if I asked the same question for Saquon a year ago, no one takes Barkley. But now that the Eagles win a Super Bowl, wait a minute. Absolutely you take Barkley. Did Barkley get magically better overnight? No, he went to a better team, and he was still very good with that team. So I think for Chubb, if you got that actual production, and you don't look at what the team did, but you just look at Nick Chubb averaged 5 yards a carry or more every year up until his knee injury, yeah, I'll sign up for that at number 2. As for Jalen Milroe, I'm just not in the same wavelength. I get Anthony Richardson type vibes where we're talking about his speed and his arm strength, but I just didn't see it at Alabama enough to feel that, yep, he can work in a pro-style offense. I felt like a lot of times it was like, hey, Milroe, just play backyard football. And he was really good at backyard football. I don't think that's going to translate to Sunday. So no thank you on Jalen, but I like Travis. I like Kaleb Johnson, and I like the Arroyo selection to probably begin the David Njoku replacement program.
Josh was also saying, is some of the Hunter hype a bit of smoke to see if someone is willing to move up? I don't think so.
No. Jimmy Productions with a $2 super chat. Let's get that super on. And then next up, I've got a 7-round mock draft, my final one for Cleveland. Where do you think Shedeur is going and what pick? Great question, Jimmy. God, I wish I had the answer to this one. I don't think he's going top 10. Let's start there. I don't think the Saints take him at 9. That's become a rumored destination. I think Shedeur Sanders is going to go somewhere between 25 and 30 to a team not picking 25 or 30. I could see the Giants trading up. I'll go with the Giants trade up with the Rams at 26 and take Shedeur Sanders. And Brian Dable and Joe Shane get Abdul Carter early, and then they circle back for the quarterback that they're going to use as leverage to keep their jobs for another year if they don't win more games in 2025. Jimmy, thank you so much for your super chat. All right, next up, let's get to my mock draft. It is my final one. I didn't do nearly as many this year. You guys can tell me if I'm wrong for that or right for it. I feel like the mock draft ecosystem has been oversaturated, and it's kind of like podcasting, where it's boom, and now everyone's a podcast, right? Everyone's got a mock draft. And I miss the days when it was like almost like appointment reading of, a new mock dropped. Well, now there's a new one every week. Every YouTuber makes a mock draft every week, and it just waters it down so much. So I decided to kind of go against the grain a little bit and just not do as many mocks as I usually did. I think this is just my 3rd or 4th mock draft of the offseason. I also feel like the mock drafts when you pick number 2 aren't as fun because it's just like, well, we already know what we're going to do, right? There's like 2 or 3 names to go from. Whereas if you're picking 10, you can go a handful of different directions. Can you lower the feedback is terrible for me right now on your end with the microphone up. That's better. Yeah. All right. Let's do this thing. Let's jump into a final 7-round mock draft. Coming up on today's show, I want to look at a 7-round mock draft by what I believe Andrew Berry and Kevin Stefanski are going to do. It's my final mock draft before the draft kicks off Thursday night, and I do these mock drafts with the impression of not what I would do as a GM, but what I predict will actually happen. And I predict in round 1, the Browns select Travis Hunter with the number 2 overall draft pick. That has been the indication and the trend over the last couple of weeks. The way Andrew Berry has spoken about Hunter to the media, he has been glowing about him. This is uncharted waters for the Browns. It's the first time they're picking in the top 50 since they took, the 2021 draft with Greg Newsome and JOK. No, not JOK. But Travis Hunter, I think, is going to be the pick at number 2. So a little bit of background on him. He's 6 foot, 188 pounds. So not the biggest guy in the world, but let's not focus on the nitpicky negatives. Let's talk about the positives. 1, he's a unicorn, right? We know this. He plays offense, and I expect him to play majority offense for the Browns and then a little bit of defense, since that's the outline and the blueprint that Andrew Berry has hinted at over the offseason. How well they can find a split is the big $1 million question. If he's only able to play offense because it's just logistically not feasible for him to play defense, then it's going to be, a pick that could be criticized as just a receiver at number 2. But if you are able to capture everything Travis Hunter brings to the football field, a guy that goes both ways, you are getting, the jack of all trades to the likes we've never seen before. And for that reason alone, I'm on board with Travis Hunter. I'm late to the party, but I think this is just too fun of a pick to pass on. And at number 2, you got to have a lot of value in the player you are taking. And for how dominant he was on offense and defense last year, it may not be the safest pick in the world, but it's a pick that is going to be unlike any other pick in NFL history. And I'd love for the Browns to be a part of that. So if you are excited for Travis Hunter to be a Brown, show him some love from the land right now. Click that thumbs up button. You know these guys are name searching. You know how this age group and this generation works. So if he comes across this video, I want him to know the Dog Pound is welcoming him with open arms. Fast forward to round 2. At pick 33, I'm going to go with Jaxson Dart. Not a pick I would make, but I predict the Browns go quarterback at 33. And to me, Dart feels like the best pick and a likely pick as well. He's 6'2", 220 pounds, so average to above average size for a quarterback. Started off at USC. This guy named Kaleb Williams went there, so he had to transfer to Ole Miss. He holds a bunch of records for the Rebels: wins, passing yards, total yards. There are some good pros to Dart's profile, but when you look under the hood, and this is why my tone is starting to shift a little bit, there are some concerns and some red flags to me. One, the offense he ran at Ole Miss never asked Dart to make much of a decision or go through much of a progression. It was a RPO-heavy offense where the quarterback was force-fed what to do. And that's not going to be the case in the NFL, right? Things aren't going to be clean in the pros. Sundays are going to have some sloppy snaps. And you want a quarterback that can roll with the punches, not someone who's going to be shell-shocked like Tom Hanks on Omaha during Saving Private Ryan, when things aren't just, laid out for him and neatly arranged for what to do. That's where coaching is going to have to take over. So if the Browns feel like the arm talent and the accuracy and the mobility, which he does excel in all three of those categories, are worth the risk of someone who has some pretty bad decision-making. If you remember the end of the Florida game between Ole Miss and Florida, that right there, I remember telling myself, undraftable. And that's why I wouldn't take him. Because when the chips were down, he's got some horrible decision-making habits, and he doesn't have a lot of pre-snap or even just post-snap analysis because it was always a Mickey Mouse offense that Lane Kiffin ran, which is great for Ole Miss, but maybe not so good when you get to the next level. So for me, I'm not interested, but I think the Browns are going to go quarterback at 33, and they're going to try and get their guy. And it might be a reach, but they are not going to wait and see if he could be there in round 3. Moving on to one of their 2 third-round draft picks, I go with Kaleb Johnson. Now, this is a little ambitious to think that he could fall to round 3, but it's a very deep running back class, and it might just be a preference thing for some teams. And if Johnson's there at the early stages of round 3, I'd love that pick for Cleveland. He's 6'1", 224 pounds, kind of a similar build and profile to Nick Chubb coming out of Georgia. Now, he only started 1 year for the Hawkeyes, so that's why he's not viewed higher by a lot of other analysts, because you just got 2024 to really go off of. But what I love most about Johnson is the hand he was dealt was not a good hand. He was in an Iowa offense that ranked 130th out of 134 FBS teams in pass attempts. Despite that, he averaged 6.4 yards a carry and 21 touchdowns. I'm going to caution anyone to not look at him as like a goal line only back or short yardage back. He may not have first, second, and third down potential as a true rookie due to the lack of receiving skills / showcase. I mean, only 29 career grabs for the Hawkeyes, but I think that's a spot he can grow into throughout his career. I like Johnson a lot. I feel that he is a chain mover. He is physical. He is violent. And he's got better burst and speed than people give him credit for. Plus, a bit of a return for him from Hamilton, Ohio. So I love the idea of getting Johnson in this draft. I want to see the Browns address the running back position early on, and to me, this is a great way to do it. Before we look at the rest of my mock draft, I want to give a big special shout out to a new sponsor of ours, which is Atlas. Our sponsor today is a brand new razor company that just hit the market. They've got so many awesome deals going on right now, And before I tell you about that, let me tell you what the great perks and benefits are about Atlas. It shaves my face great thanks to 5 high-quality blades and high-performance gear as well. I've also been liking their shaving cream, the thick formula that shows me where I'm shaving and leaves my skin baby bottom soft. And their premium razor kits come with a magnetic storage hook that you can attach to your bathroom mirror or medicine cabinet for easy storage. And now for a limited time, they are offering 15% off your first order when you purchase any razor kit and the before and after set, which includes the precision shave cream and calming aftershave. Use code CHAT at houseofatlas.com. That's HOUSEOFATLAS.com with promo code CHAT for 15% off your new razor kit and before and after set. Stop wasting money and time on shaving products that don't look good, aren't effective, and cost way too much. Visit houseofatlastoday.com. Trust me, you'll love it as much as I did. I put all that information in the comments and description of today's video. Getting back to our mock draft, the Browns have 2 third-round selections, and with their next third-round pick, I'm going to go with cornerback Jacob Parrish. So let me give you a little bit of background on the K-State corner. One, this is an Andrew Berry pick written all over it. He's got blazing speed. He was a state champion sprinter, and that carries over to the field quite nicely. Now, he's not the biggest guy, 5'9", 191 pounds. So that's going to be why he probably goes more towards round 3 than round 2 in the draft. Started 2 years for the Wildcats, but when you put the film on, when you watch the highlight reel, it's the speed, and I'll also toss out the versatility that pops out. If the Browns are looking for someone that can play inside, that can play outside, I think Parrish is a great candidate for a round 3 selection. Only 2 years of I should say only 2 years. 2 years of starting experience, so there's a lot to like here. He led the team in interceptions in back-to-back seasons, 4 in 2023, and then 1 in 2024. In coverage, he was pretty solid altogether. I'm not going to cast him off as some lockdown, shutdown, Revis Island type corner, but he has a similar type, profile in a way to like Greg Newsome, which, listen, I'm doing this mock draft based on what Andrew Berry would do, and history tends to repeat itself. And so if the Browns are already thinking about a Newsome replacement, I could see them going with a versatile corner who's got great speed and athleticism, which we know the Browns in the draft are attracted to: young, great athletic players. And that's Parrish right there in a nutshell. So that's why I went corner at the end of round 3. Before we look at the day 3 portion of this mock draft, make sure you join us for our live draft coverage. We'll be live on the channel Thursday, Friday, an hour before it gets started. We've got giveaways, free live coverage, pick-by-pick analysis. So get the best Browns draft content available when you subscribe to the channel. Getting back to our mock draft, in round 4, I'm going to go with Anthony Belton, offensive lineman out of NC State. Let me give you a little bit of background on the initial Georgia Military College student who then transfers to NC State from Tallahassee, went to FSU school, which I guess is a local high school there. But anywho, the thing you got to know about this guy is his nickname. It's Escalade, like a Cadillac Escalade. They call him that because of his size and speed. Again, if we're thinking what would Barry look at here, he's going to look at a 6'6", 336-pound tackle who moves like a car when getting to the second level for blocks and go, hey, given the issues we've had on the offensive line, not a bad time to kind of reset a little bit and get maybe our next like James Hudson, our next Chris Hubbard, like our next swing tackle that we feel confident can hop in and have the athleticism to keep up with what we want to do offensively. Plus, there's a greater chance than none that DeJuan Jones or Jack Conklin gets injured at some point. I'm not trying to put that out in the universe, but let's just face reality here. Jones has had back-to-back injuries, season-ending injuries, and Conklin has not played a full season in a long time. So I like getting to an offensive tackle like Belton. It's not a very good offensive tackle class, so I don't think you're going to find a lot of good prospects later on. But in this mock draft, he was there at round 4, and I want to invest in the offensive line. Now, before we look at the other picks I made a trade in this draft, and I decided the Browns want to get back into round 5 because they have multiple 6th-round draft picks. I don't anticipate Cleveland using all those 6th-round draft picks, so I struck a deal with the Packers, gave them pick 192 to fall back 20 spots. Seems fair enough to me. So with this 5th-round draft pick, I decided to go with Jordan Hancock, the Ohio State safety. So let's talk a little bit about the national champion from 2024. He is originally from the Georgia area. He was basically a one-year starter. I think he started a little bit in 2023, but he's got good size altogether, so that's not something that jumps out against him. He's not one of the best athletes. He doesn't have crazy top-end speed, say like Parrish does, for example, but the production was evident. I mean, in his 2 years as an on and off again starter from 2023 to 2024, combined for 3 interceptions and 4 forced fumbles. Now, unfortunately, he does have a little bit of a medical history. Had a hamstring injury in 2022, so he missed a good chunk of 2022. But even when he came back, he really wasn't 100%. So the overall synopsis on him, as Dane Brugger from The Athletic points out, he's quick, he's physical, he's got versatility in his experience, but he's not the fastest guy. He's not, maybe your teach tape type safety. But in round 5, I'm looking for someone who could provide some depth behind Grant Delpit and this young safety room. All right, who's ready for a wrench? Quinn Ewers, quarterback out of Texas, is my pick in round 6. He makes his return to the Buckeye State. I think Ewers is going to fall more than people will believe. So, some background on him. He's got good size. Let's talk about just the profile, and then we'll talk about the rationale behind the pick. The thing that jumps out the most about Quinn is the arm strength, right? It's why he was recruited by Ohio State. It's what makes him such a unique high school prospect. He's just got a wicked cannon of an arm. And unfortunately for him, that arm has come to bite him a lot of times because he has made some really bad decisions. And it often comes right from the start, which is just extra infuriating because as a coach, you feel like you can't even get into your game plan because Ewers throws an interception on the first or second pass of the game. Last year for the Longhorns, he missed a little bit of time with an injury, right? 3,400 yards altogether, 33 touchdowns, but 12 interceptions. That's a big number in college football. We all know he started off at Ohio State, but never really actually played for the Buckeyes. But I guess you can count him as an honorary Buckeye like Burrow. And then he goes and starts for the Longhorns for 3 straight seasons and, helps him reach the college football playoff and, win a couple games here and there. But the rationale behind this Ewers pick here is I feel that the Browns are going to go with 2 quarterbacks in this draft. And seeing Ewers available in day 3, I could see in round 6 the Browns taking a chance on a guy who's got a very strong arm. So that's why I pulled the trigger on this, and I'm trying to think what would Andrew Berry do. And I think Berry would like to have the opportunity to bring an extra rookie quarterback in, given the fact that it's not a very good, not a very strong quarterback class. So why not toss an extra line out there and see if that one works? It worked for the Redskins. They took RG3 second overall and Kirk Cousins in the 4th round. So I'm sure they don't regret that at all. I could see the Browns doing the same thing in this draft. So be on alert for 2 quarterbacks taken in this draft. All right, let's move on to the rest of this mock draft here. In round 6, I decided to go with a tight end. It is Clemson's Jake Briningstool. So a little bit of background on him. Not that I, am an expert on the Clemson tight end department, but here's what I know about him at least. He's 6'5", 241. He started 2 years for the Tigers and had some pretty good receiving numbers last year, 530 yards, 7 touchdowns. The notes all overall is he's a tall, lean athlete, as Brugler points out, who's got, a good catch radius altogether. I think he could be someone that offers you some versatility and some flexibility in 2 tight end sets. And with Stefanski wanting to get back to probably a more 2 tight end set offense, I expect Cleveland to add a tight end in this draft. Then to round out this mock draft, I went with Teddye Buchanan, Cal linebacker. Again, not someone that I'm going to pretend that I'm a, expert on, but he started a boatload of years in college football. Not all at Cal. Started off at UC Davis, 4 seasons there. Then he transfers to Cal. Puts up really good numbers altogether. 114 tackles, 5 sacks. He's 22 years old, so he's kind of right on that line, that threshold of, being young enough Leo-wise for Andrew Berry. Solid size, 6'2", 233. Nothing that jumps out, positively or negatively. But it's the physical traits that are just, as Brugler puts it, more good than great, which, hey, in round 7, I'll tell you what I'm looking for. Special teamers. And linebackers are a great special team, Swiss Army knife, because you can use them in a bunch of different ways because they've got good enough size to block people, but also good enough size to get off blocks. So with the JOK injury and just the Browns linebacker room constantly being, snake bitten, really the last 4 or 5 years, I like the idea of bringing on a new special team linebacker who, can compete with second-year guy Nathaniel Watson and Diabate and, try and find a home on this roster in special teams. So how would you grade my mock draft? A, B, C, D, or F? Let me know in the comment section what you think of it. This is a mock draft based on what I think is going to happen. These are not picks I would do. I would not go Jaxson Dart in round number 2. I would probably not go Quinn. Round 6, who cares about Quinn Ewers going there? Like, if you're upset about that, find me a better round 6 guy that you think is going to be some stud. So this is just my gut, prediction for what I think is going to happen on Thursday, Friday, and Saturday. So give me your grade down below in the comment section. I give it like a B. The Travis Hunter pick I like. I don't like the Dart pick, but I like the Kaleb Johnson pick, and I like the Parrish pick. So 33rd overall pick's going to have more weight than the picks after it, so B to B plus in my eyes. Let's pick a card to wrap up our mock draft video. Reed, which card do you want to go with? Yeah. Ace of Hearts for Reed. I'm going to go with 6 of Diamonds. 7 of Spades. 7 of Spades. All right. I'll see you all later. People were grumpy about Quinn Ewers. Oh, guys, it's round 6. Come on. You can get mad about things in like rounds 1 through 3. If you're going to get mad at round 6 about a pick, I want to hear a better option. Come on. I mean, for the arm talent alone, I like it.
It's tough for you to know just randomly who's gonna be there. You have no idea who's gonna be there in round 6.
Yeah. Tim, I don't disagree that Kaleb Johnson being there in round 3 feels like a little. I've seen mock drafts where he goes round 3. So if teams just prefer the receiving upside that Travion Henderson brings and feels that, hey, Quinshawn Judkins is better than Johnson, he just didn't get the same amount of touches last year to show that, all of a sudden you see, let's say Genty and Omarion Hampton go in rounds 1 and 2, and then you get Henderson and Judkins going in round 2. That's 4 teams satisfying their running back need. Not every team needs a running back, and if the teams towards the end of round 2 don't, then I could see a world where Kaleb Johnson falls to round 3. I remember. Okay, ready for this? Who remembers last year when we were all mocking? How about last year and a few years before that? All the mock drafts had the Browns going with Troy Franklin in round 2. Anyone remember that? Troy Franklin went round 4. Or a few years before that, all the mock drafts had Cleveland going with Perrion Winfrey in round 2. The Browns got him in round 4. So there are no absolutes when it comes to day 2 of the draft about who goes in which round. Will Howard. I'm so excited for Will Howard's NFL career so that we can just get an actual, decisive answer as to whether or not he's just a good college quarterback for Ohio State or if he's actually going to translate to the pros. Because I went to the Combine. That was one of the worst quarterback performances I've ever seen at the Combine. And I don't make my entire evaluation off a Combine throwing session. But man, oh man, you got to ask yourself, did Will Howard look better than Justin Fields at Ohio State? Because we've seen how Fields has dropped off in the league when he's not throwing to Ohio State receivers who are Ohio State open. That's where I really circle back to with Howard. Yeah, it's great. It's awesome for Ohio State. But you can't attach Ohio State to Cleveland Browns. That's where you're going to disappoint yourself. Just don't think about the pros. Just enjoy the greatness of how awesome Ohio State is. That the receivers are so good, thank you, Brian Hartline, that the quarterbacks, well, they may not have great pro careers. They look great in college. What do you care if they don't have great pro careers? Just enjoy what they do in Columbus. All right. We're going to sign off. Oh, sounds good, Josh. I miss Chick-fil-A. All right. Thank you guys so much for tuning into our, kind of live coverage leading up to the draft. We're going to have more videos going out over the next, 2 days at this point. It's going to be here before you know it. So make sure you stick around, click that subscribe button down below, and I'll see everyone next time.